Hello, Lady Rec here. Just a quick message before we start off More Than Meets the Eye 35 reviewage. We are quickly arriving at the end of 2014 and are preparing for our end of year show. But before we can do that, we need some help from you, the listeners of the show. End of year voting will be posted this week. It's your chance to let us and IDW know what you loved about 2014. This will be posted in several places on Full Metal Hero, the IDW forums, and Facebook this year, our Facebook page, the Underbase Facebook page. And if you'd like, you can email your responses as well to the underbasepodcast@gmail.com, all one word. Check out the show notes and Twitter as well, because we will be posting links several times. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy Team More Than Meets the Eye's review.
Transmission is go. Underbase is live.
Hello and welcome to the Underbase. I'm your host King Grimlock, and we have a bit of a change-up. Considering the fact we're 2 weeks late on this review of More Than Meets the Eye issue 35, we still couldn't get the entire team here. So we've had to go Full Metal Hero. We have brought in Dave, I don't know if you remember him, Underwood.
Hi.
It was like literally 2 years ago we had him on last time.
Yeah, what was it? It was
I don't know.
RID 5 and 6, I think.
Oh my word.
Yeah, so 30 months ago.
And Adam is here as well, coming back for 2 months in a row.
Whee, it's like a record.
It is. It's actually, to be fair, going how we have over the last few months, that is getting towards like the trifecta of it. I don't think we'll ever be able to get three of us on 3 shows in a row. But anyway, yes, we're sorry we're late for this review, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an interesting few weeks, and after double bookings and then various technical difficulties, like Chris forgetting that the show was on last week, and Chris is busy this week, so I can say what I want. It's not like he listens.
Oh, poor Chris.
Love you, Chris. So we're here for issue 35 of More Than Meets the Eye. Before we begin, let's have some covers. The main cover, everything is fine except for the bunch of dead rewind molds sitting on the bottom of the page. Looking good. The subcover features a guy with a clockwork head. It's like steampunk gone nuts. It also looks like he's wearing a hoodie. It's like the worst ever cosplay. And the retailer incentive is the 30th anniversary, featuring Grimlock and Wheelie stamping on a quint, interrogator, prosecutor, judge. Well, one of the quints. Gives a monkeys about quintessence.
I do.
This is why we only have him on once every 30
You love me, really.
Can't be trusted.
He just doesn't toe the company line. I just don't. Dave, which one are you buying? If money wasn't an option.
I bought the one with the cosplay dude.
Yeah, but which one would you? If you...
Yeah, that's the one I wanted.
Oh, right, okay.
That's the one I wanted.
And why was that the one you wanted?
Because he was cool when he showed up back with the Overlord thingy.
Am I missing something?
This is the dude that checked out Overlord's Spark.
Yeah, you know when they were mining the spark on Luna something, 1 or 2. It's 50-50 chance, I'm going to say Luna 1. And this dude turned up and he was all like, oh, I got a cog for a head. Let me look at this one in however many thousand spark, the 0.1% type thing.
Seriously, I need to pay more attention.
Yeah, this is the Authenticator. 3 of 12.
Ah, there you go, Authenticator. Dave's on it.
Dave is on it. You got the wiki open there, have you?
No.
Dave is the wiki.
Dave is the wiki!
I've got like the titles of all of More Than Meets the Eye in my head for some reason. in order, and I don't know why.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, you're a great sub for Chris.
Ah.
And we can understand every third word you say. It's great.
Yeah, but you can guarantee that I'll not know something that Chris considers important.
Micromasters.
Yes.
Chris doesn't know Micromasters either, so.
I mean, or
Who does?
I don't know. I know really useless stuff. Like that.
Like.
Like this guy is 3 of 12, the authenticator.
Oh, dear me. Okay, cool. Well, I've learned something. I've forgotten it again, but Adam, which one?
I would go for the same one, to be honest with you. I really like that. I forget his name. What was it? The Authenticator, you reckoned his name was, Dave? But, just the Coghead is so unlike any sort of Transformers design we're used to. And I think it's really reflective of the actual content of the issue too. So I really like it.
Yeah. Cool. I would go with the main cover. I just think it's a really just a great looking, clever cover. Just love the lighting on it, and it's just again, it's different. I get what you're saying about the other one, but it's nice to have covers that are different, but still actually relate to what's going on, and not just generally a homage. It's nice to see. I should mention who did each one. I forgot to give credit where credit was due. The regular cover is Alex Milne, coloured by Josh Perez. Subcover is Nick Roach, coloured by Josh Burcham, and the 30th anniversary is Andrew Griffith. And we are here at the start of 35. Written by James Robert Spencer by Alex Milne, inks by Alex Milne and Brian Shearer, coloured by Joan Lafuente, letters by Tom B. Long, and edited by John Barber. And the story so far, on a quest to find the Knights of Cybertron, the starship Lost Light has been through the ringer. After coming into contact with a quantum duplicate of itself, a new Rewind joins, and the crew learns Brainstorm is a traitor. Before they can act, Brainstorm stands in Swerve's bar amidst a sea of Autobot bodies.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, Dave, in the last 30 months, how do you feel the book's gone?
I've liked the vast majority. Dark Cybertron was a thing that had a lot of promise and, shook things up a little bit, but could have been told a lot more quickly. I continue to enjoy in the aftermath of Dark Cybertron. I'm glad to be looking at something other than, look, Megatron's an Autobot now.
Uh-huh.
Last issue pleased me with that by focusing on some guys that you didn't get to see very much. And the odd little bit of DJD just to thrill me in the special place. And I don't know what else to say after that. I think
I think you've said quite enough.
Yes.
Okay, that's you up to date. Brilliant. 3 years, just done.
I like to be concise.
We open in a spaceport. Minimus Ambus and Rewind are coming down an escalator, having just arrived. Minimus Ambus is back from where he's been. Rewind's come to meet him. There's lots of other Rewind clones and drones walking around the place, and we don't really recognise anyone else until we turn the page and we see a vast amount of Energon, Cybertron, and basic Unicron trilogy character models. Who knew they still existed? And if anybody is going to pick them all out, anybody? Nope. Good. It's a good game of spot the Minicon and spot the Energon Ironhide, because, man, that was a bad design. Anyway, the Minimus and Rewind are stopped by what looks like Judge Dredd in robot form, and they are he's stopping him because of
status symbol.
Yes, thank you. And he said, needs proof of function, won't be blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so we're in a world of Cybertron which we don't really recognise as the one that we know. The form function, alt mode function things seem to be very much in full effect. It's creating complete segregation between classes. People are only allowed to move within certain areas if their alt mode gives them the privilege to do so. It's what was being hinted. It's basically what Megatron rebelled against, going all the way back to Origins and stuff. But it's really being shown here by this Judge Dreadbot pointing guns at Minimus Ambus's head while he's in alt mode, and yeah, just generally going for it. And while this is going on, Cybertron Jetfire charges through. No, Energon Jetfire charges through. And basically, he has been recalled. And yeah, recall apparently is blowing someone's head off.
Yep. Made obsolete.
And we find out at the end of this page, this isn't the past. This is Cybertron today. So, Adam, what's going on?
I think, obviously, yeah, at this point, knowing that Brainstorm's gone back to the past and something's changed. You know, we got Back to the Future rules in effect. Something's very different from the beginning of this issue from what we know, and I think that's quite clear. You know, it would almost seem like this is the past, and Minimus Ambus knows Rewind, and it's all set, you know, pre-war, and then, you know, it isn't. And that doesn't make any sense. Nothing I'm saying makes any sense.
Use your words. Your words are your friends.
No. I'm just used to shouting at work all day, and then I can't cope when I have to just read a comic. I'm going to have a breakdown.
It's weird having this 2-week detachment from it.
I know.
It's
I was
like
all, damn you,
gone...
you, McFeely. Damn you. I was all ready to go last week. Oh. Right, back on track.
Yeah, back on track. Yeah, so what we basically find out is that this is modern day Cybertron. People are still being policed in the same way they were back before the war happened. Is effectively what's going on. Dave?
Yep.
Yeah. We know something's happened in the timeline. Wibbly wobbly, spacey wacy, timey wimey, flummoxy. We know it's Brainstorm. How has it happened? Tell me, man.
How?
Yeah.
Don't ask me. I didn't write it. Ask James. He wrote it.
James!
Oh, God, yes, he's not here. How has it happened? He opened his bloody briefcase. Finally.
Well.
35 months later. In 3 years. Finally, he opened it and proved himself to be a bastard.
This is a result. Cybertron is populated in modern day by Unicron Trilogy bots.
See, we knew it was a bad idea to open that.
Yeah, never change the past.
It leads to the Unicron Trilogy.
Oh, no.
And big-ass 1984-esque comments up on...
Yes. Take pride in being a means to an end. It's lovely, isn't it?
You are our eyes.
You are your alt mode.
Yeah.
Issued by the functionalists.
Yeah, it's all really Big Brother 1984. And...
I like that today is the best day of your life one.
Yeah.
You need to give that badge to your staff.
I'm going to put it on a wall at work.
I keep threatening my staff with pictures of my benevolent face, watching them at all times.
I actually said at work the other day I was going to build an Eye of Sauron tower so I could watch.
I like that. I like that. I'm going to have one in the middle of Salvation Army Lichfield.
So basically, you're just going to put a webcam on a stick.
Yeah.
Wreathed in flame.
Which will just be a Zippo.
Yeah.
So you're going to set a webcam on fire with a Zippo. That's your Eye of Sauron.
It's sad because it's true.
Yes, that is very true. There does seem to be a distinct lack of cameras. There's one thing I did notice looking around this. For something that is a very 1984, we are watching, you are being controlled. Isn't it nice to be who you are? Everyone's happy, keep smiling. You've got guards on the gates, but other than that, you just don't seem to have anything that would feel obvious. You'd expect almost to be able to see cameras, and obviously as this issue plays out, we work out why. But
I figured that's what those yellow things were, actually. But
the beginning, those at the top on the escalator.
Yeah,
I suppose they could be.
I just thought they were general lights.
I think the whole thing kind of was, it's obviously very airport security.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt lax that, you've got Energon Jetfire hiding behind a box. The two Judge Dreadbots are cool and all, but they seem pretty incompetent.
Yeah. Where was it he reckons he's found him?
Hiding in the hangars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like literally standing behind them and suddenly sprints past.
I mean, I hope he wasn't in alt mode, actually. I hope he was in robot mode in the hangar rather than pretending to be a plane or something.
Well, he's a Lunarbot, isn't he? So Energon Jetfire was a spaceship.
Yeah, he would have been. I got the impression he was a transport or something.
Yeah, so he would have been a spaceship. So if he was in his alt mode, it'd been really obvious.
The irony of hiding in a hangar, but not as a thing that should be in a hangar.
Yeah. Well, if your alt mode's a shuttle or a plane or something, being in a hangar is a pretty obvious place to be in the first. Yeah. Oh, where did we check? Check the toilets. Check the cafe. Did you check the hangar? Nah. Wouldn't be there, would he?
They're always the last place you look, these people.
Well, clearly, otherwise, why would you continue looking for them?
Christ's sake.
Do you think there's a baggage collection on Cybertron? Where you just watch everyone else's suitcases go round and round and yours never ever comes?
I imagine that if it is, in this Cybertron, Rung will just be stood there. Just by himself. Just watching it go around and just this sad, battered bag with like one handle hanging off. And it's just, what a metaphor.
Been squashed by everybody else.
Yeah, and he's just stood there and it's not his, and he knows someone's nicked his bag.
Oh, it sucks to be wrong.
Do you think it's like Ironhide at the complaints desk just flipping people off? I've lost my luggage.
So
yeah. An interesting start to the issue. I mean, we don't have we only have 5 pages of what's going on. This is interesting. Well, this must be the past. Oh no, it's present day. We've not had what's been a regular thing in More Than Meets the Eye is the illusion hasn't been shattered and has always waited until the last minute to be shattered. Whereas, if we go back even to the last arc, it was very much something's going on. What's going on? Oh, something's happening. Oh, people are disappearing. Oh, wow. Blah, blah, blah. Now it's boom. Cybertron's changed.
Yeah.
Complete change of pace. Which for me works, actually. It made me go, yeah. So rather than sort of going, oh, something's happening in the past, you're actually instantly speculating what's going on and then reading the rest of the comic book with that in mind.
Yeah.
And the rest of the comic book kicks off on the Lost Light, as you'd hope, this being More Than Meets the Eye. Rewind's having a nightmare. New Rewind. Not old Rewind, he's dead. And Chrome Dome... Is Chrome Dome, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always get him and Hardhead confused. No, Brainstorm. Chrome Dome and Brainstorm. I always get the names mixed up. Don't know why.
It's Foam Dome, I promise.
Yeah. He busts his way, literally tears the doors open to find out what's wrong. Rewind's having a nightmare. And basically everything that he's seen. And Rewind's having difficulties adjusting to being on the ship with Chrome Dome. Chrome Dome's having difficulties adjusting to this not being his Rewind. Because they are completely different to as we've discussed, well, neither of you were here. As has been discussed on this show, these aren't the same characters as the other one would have known. Up until a point they were, but obviously life has changed them over the past couple of years. But basically what it comes down to is that Rewind is talking about things like the mass recalls and the different cycles. The mass recall where the functionalists murdered all the laser pointers would have been cycle 351, 6th cycle. That's 500,000 years ago. The functionists were long gone. We were in the Manganese Mountains fighting Scorponok, as was Shimmerstick, and he turned into a... So basically, it's the first realization something's going on. Rewind's database is changing, but their world isn't yet, which I thought was very nicely done.
Information's coming ahead of...
Which is their first clue that something's going wrong.
Yeah.
So this is how the Lost Light find out what's happening, basically. Dave, bit of an info dump on these 2 pages, though?
Oh, God, yeah.
It's like, plot.
Oh, God, yeah. It's... Yes, I am Rewind, but I'm not your Rewind. You killed your Rewind. I'm not sure I can get over that you killed me. But I've got some little stairs that lead to my bed.
Yeah, well,
Things I choose to care about. Sorry.
The things you notice, yeah.
Oh, the little stairs so that he can get in bed because he's little. No, it's quite a nice couple of scenes, though. If he had tear ducts, you'd think Chrome Dome would be crying in a couple of places.
Yeah.
He busts in all manly, using brute manly strength to tear down the door, and then he doesn't understand why Rewind doesn't want to live with him.
Just break everything.
I thought the weirdest thing was, like, on this that sat the strangest with me is that the dead Rewind from the non-Bizarro duplicate universe obviously had a problem with Chrome Dome using his finger needles. And Chrome Dome spent however many issues sneaking around and doing it. And yet, within having met this Rewind for what, 2 days, it said? Yeah, no, two hours ago or whatever. He's basically offering to stick his needles in his head to get rid of the bad memories.
Well, it's kind of like saying, "Hi, darling, I've missed you."
Well, it's kind of like your significant other having a problem with your drinking habit. They go away, and as soon as they come back again after some traumatic experience, you want to go down the pub.
It is.
You've just basically described Shaun of the Dead.
I'd like to think that's by accident, but I'm not sure it is.
No, it is entirely by accident, but yet somehow works. I can picture Rewind telling Chrome Dome to pull his finger. You just turn around and go, "I'm sorry, Chrome Dome."
Right, so James might have his songs for each issue, but this is now White Lines, isn't it? That's all I can be able to think of for the rest of the issue. Oh, we had the Zombies 2 issues ago as well. Oh. 10 floors down at the morgue, we have the answer. Trailbreaker's dead.
Yep.
Max sums that one up.
Anyone actually care anymore?
Well, I didn't care, but it was unclear and it was unresolved. So I'm glad it's now spelled out.
Yeah, I'm not in any way shocked. I don't know why people might be, actually.
Well, his toy's been and gone.
There must be a Trailbreaker fan out there who's devastated.
Yeah, the DJD don't normally leave folk alive. It was a shock for Rewind.
Yeah.
So, they're pretty good at what they do, which is killing folk.
Yeah, and let's be fair, they almost killed the other 3 as well, according to this. They basically nuked them from space.
And then flew back to Megatron Mountain.
I like that image.
Yeah.
Because, in Rodimus's head, it's just a big... It's Megatron's head as a mountain.
It's a Megatron rod pod, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and its mouth opens to let them in.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of want that now.
It's like Castle Grayskull or something.
Just have visions of Megatron as Mega made out of Spaceballs. It's a super star destroyer. That's what Megatron Mountain is, that transforms into a giant Megatron.
I like this image. I think we should insist that some third party do it for us.
They'll probably solicit it for February and it will come out March 2019.
Yeah.
And people will still buy it.
Yeah.
I will say it on this podcast right now, if a third party released a decent Mega Made, I would buy it. As long as they had a tiny, tiny, tiny flying Winnebago.
Eagle 5.
Try and put it in the ear. I would buy the crap out of that.
But only under those circumstances.
Oh yeah. And it'd have to be good, obviously. It couldn't be made. It couldn't be made by Zovagen or something like that. Still want the Lego Eagle 5. That's where it is. That's where it's at. Anyway, so we've touched on what happened last issue, but actually we're going to focus on Brainstorm. What happened was Brainstorm was basically poisoning everyone by the drinks in Swerves. An electrosensitive poison, which when he opened his case, he activated it. But no one died, because Swerve dilutes his drinks. The only people who weren't knocked offline were the teetotalers, which is Rung and Ultra Magnus. And Magnus was basically shredded to his component parts. Just demagnetized or whatever it was.
Yep. Sized.
Yeah.
That's a really poor pun. Oh, I feel dirty for that one.
So they go to Brainstorm's workshop, and basically we realise he has travelled in time. Mm-hmm. And Rodimus is explaining... The lovely thing about this, Rodimus is explaining this like you should get it. Rodimus is explaining this like you've read 34 issues of More Than Meets the Eye before. Megatron reacts to it like this is your first issue. It's glorious.
It is.
This conversation is ridiculous. You are ridiculous. Everything that's happened in the last few days is intensely ridiculous. 6 months into this shambles of a quest, 6 months, and not a day goes by, not an hour, when I don't have to step back from this endless parade of nonsense and remind myself by means of several blows to the head that I am here of my own volition, and not the result of some elaborate trap set by Optimus Prime.
I like it.
Yeah.
And Magnus's reaction on top of that as well.
Better.
Feel better? No. A minor breakdown is practically a rite of passage on this ship. We all have them. But no, you're right. This is like a day in Rodimus's life, and for Megatron, this is just really weird.
But it's like Megatron speaking for every naysayer of More Than Meets the Eye as a comic. It's ludicrous. They don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. It's just nonsense. Every issue is just barking.
But it doesn't matter.
No, that's the thing. It's just like in that panel, James is just turning around and going, but this is the comic. And you're still buying it, and you're here of your own volition.
Yep.
And some weeks it is punishment. I kid. So they find out who knows about Brainstorm, which is literally just Magnus, Rodimus, Megatron, and Perceptor. And basically they want to keep it all undercover because, who'd want to tell people that someone's escaped into time? Rodimus is slowly becoming Star-Lord. He's slowly becoming Chris Pratt as Rodimus.
Slowly?
Well, since Chris Pratt's been relevant, it's basically...
So, since season 2 started...
Yeah, basically, time jump using it is such a... Just lifted straight out of Parks and Rec, that line. So, Magnus asked the question that we've all been asking, but why would he want to go back in time? Are you serious? I'm going to say Hexagon agent with a time machine. After 4 million years of fighting, it's suddenly game over and I'm on the losing team. So what do? You use your time machine to change the final score. So, Dave.
Yep.
More plot.
Yeah.
It's a fairly plot-heavy section. This is what we're doing. This is what's going on.
It's spread over a couple more pages than last time.
Yes, that's true.
It is a lot more plot, but it's juxtaposed with some quite pleasing little bits, like Rung being trampled by people passed out, and Megatron having a minor mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, as we've just been saying, that you've encapsulated the comic in a couple of panels there, and so you don't mind so much that all you've gone through is this has happened. In case you've not read last week, last month even. But who took out the legislator though? That's a question that bothers me.
I assume he drinks as well.
Has he always had those arrows sticking out of him?
Or is that something caved over his head? Like a bar bent over his head?
It looks like that. Either that or he's wearing bull horns.
But yeah, you're right. He's got arrows in him.
I'm sure he had arrows anyway, because...
Atomizer shot him.
Yeah, Atomizer's nuts, it seems. So yeah, that mildly bothers me, but not enough to care too much. No. Yeah, okay. I can live with that. I'll deal with it.
Adam, you put me onto the Megatron basically surmising the book.
Yes.
Anything to add to it?
No, I really enjoyed these pages. It's the first time I think I've actually enjoyed Megatron on the Lost Light. I've been pretty vocal about I'm not super into it, and I actually thought this was really good. It's kind of self-referencing in the right way. The only thing that I kind of liked was Megatron obviously taking an interest in Trail Cutter, or whatever he wants to call himself this week, in his body and his hand. And I thought there's going to be, I think there's more to that than just clarification of what happened the previous week.
Yeah, God, you say what you said to me.
Well, I think that Megatron's quite clearly getting hold of Trailbreaker's hand there, which is seemingly either the force field generator or emitter or something. You don't see him put it down, but that doesn't mean he's got it with him. But I suspect that will have something to do with something before it's all said and done.
Megatron with force field powers.
Or something,
Do you think he's going to kind of go all Mega Man and just pick up dead bits of various Autobots until he becomes superpowered and can defeat?
Well, off the show we briefly discussed Primacy, and in Monstrosity that Megatron decided to slap a whole bunch of stuff all into him.
Yeah.
And certainly got a bit of an upgrade. Even going as far as jamming in a Quintesson's spark into his own.
Yeah, so he's not without form, is he?
No, I don't think Megatron's adverse to changing his body. I think he's had more new bodies in, the IDW series than anybody else.
Yeah, and the one with the least amount of toys as well, actually. It's normally the way to get a new body, isn't it? Get a toy released. Yeah.
Absolutely, but yes, it's a good few pages. Self-referencing in the right way, a lot of information, and the humour breaks it up nicely. I think it's better than the earlier info dump, which doesn't have any humour to it.
Yeah,
this is funny at the same time, but doesn't necessarily take you out of the comic.
I actually think that the page entitled "Brainstorm's Workshop" is one of those very rare pages that actually stands wonderfully on its own. It's so nicely done. It's genuinely funny. And if you, I could almost say I'd like to have a print of that page.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good one to have on the wall. That is a page unto itself. It can be read out of context, and you get it, and it's still funny.
A little one shot of its own.
Just Rodimus's face. It's okay, no rush. Look, we've been through this for 2 years. We know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, let it out.
You do wonder though sometimes, as you say, with Megatron's got a plan. I think everybody thinks that, but whether he thought his life would actually be quite so bloody weird as he's gotten himself into.
Yeah, you kind of feel for him, don't you?
Yeah, more than you kind of want to for the megalomaniac tyrant, you know.
Yeah.
This was not part of the plan at all.
So, back on Cybertron, modern Cybertron. Minimus and Rewind are approaching Dominus's accommodation. They get there while on the way viewing a news report of a bot throwing her transformation cog at a functionary and then exploding. And, you know, they say, Rewind says, I guess the best way to attack the council is to attack your alt mode. To effectively saying, I am not my function. If I don't have my function, what am I? Yada, yada. And we find out, obviously Minimus has missed all of this, and Dominus's brother now has a iPad for a head. Actually, he, as Adam pointed out, is Prince Robot for a head, or whatever he's called from Saga.
Prince Robot the fourth or third or something.
Who does just have a computer screen for a head, or a TV for a head. Seriously, great book. Go and read it. If you're over the age of 18, go and read it.
Yeah, add that.
Yeah. Once described by one of my friends as one of the best books I've read, but not a book I can recommend to people because I don't want people to judge me on it. So.
I might have to look that up now.
Oh, Saga's amazing. It's amazing. But it's
yeah. deeply,
deeply offensive in places. A lot of weird stuff goes on in that book. A lot of weird stuff. So we find out that Dominus has been a flathead, as he calls it, for asking too many questions of the council. So it's Imperator evolved. Once it was about shame, ostracism by means of lurid disfigurement, a quick and easy way of parading the deviants. Ubiquity, however, breeds tolerance. As the grotesque became commonplace, so Imperator lost its power to offend. It was then the functionalists realised that facial mutilation could go further.
I like the idea of some functionist sitting there and just go, like, every person he doesn't like, change his head for a camera, change his head for a camera, and his, and his, and his. And then no one's got a face. Just all cameras. And they're like, no, now TV screens.
I just sort of sitting around, just with throwing up a juggling ball, just in a. What are we going to do next? How about we give them TV heads? Yeah, that'll do. Yeah.
Never listen to the suggestions of your magic 8-ball. It never goes. It never goes right.
Remove a person's face and their voice, and they fetter their ability to express themselves. Do that, and they become easier to do.
Kyle!
And then there's a pop-up.
Superb.
It's just so bad taste.
It's massively 1984 again, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the telling you how to feel thing now. It's brilliant.
I mean,
perfectly timed.
Yeah, Minimus just points at his face. Mole. And Rewind says, it's their property. They can do what they want.
Yep.
Minimus is sick of it, and he's going back to the spaceport. He's going to meet the Primal Vanguard. Everyone's been given new jobs. He's going back. He's going to go and meet up with them, and then he's going to work out whatever he's going to do. And Rewind asks, "Do you think he's on side?" And we don't know. At the cog, the giant floating T-cog in the sky.
We could go back to the Lady Rung.
Do you think it's Lady Rung? Or just...
Or the useless one.
Yeah.
Saying. And we know that Rung turns into an ornament.
That's true.
I think she's cosplaying as Rung.
So are you suggesting that maybe Rung is like being lifted up as a...
Yeah, I think Rung is some sort of figurehead as a revolutionary on this version of Cybertron. Because that image amuses me no end.
Yeah, I've got an image of Rung being John Connor in Terminator.
Yeah,
It
that's
kind of makes sense though, doesn't it?
It does. It makes weird sense.
I mean, he's got a completely useless alt mode. I personally think he's a cochlear implant for Metroplex, but that's another matter entirely.
Amy, cut that bit out.
Yeah. But no, I mean, Rung's got a completely useless alt mode. We know that already. We've seen it a couple of times. It looked a bit different both times, but that's just art. And he wears fake kibble. We know that as well.
Yeah.
And she looks like Rung completely. And then we got the fact that she's a she and there shouldn't be she's, but
Yeah.
so that's another point of history that's changed because of Brainstorm. There are she's on Cybertron.
Yeah, because so obviously the worlds come back together before Darkseid, or at some point the world has come back together.
There's not been the schism between the colony worlds or something.
Well, no, there would have been because that happened before 4 million years ago.
Well, they've corrected it beforehand then,
Yeah.
which is another interesting thing. See, there's a bit of positive to what Brainstorm's done.
There's a lot of positive according to Brainstorm. Well, no, actually, as we soon find out, really not. So, the cog. Everything is fine. And we have the functionist, the 12, the conveyor, the auditor, the authenticator, the moderator, the enumerator, the enactor, the curator, the disseminator, the inquisitor, the evaluator, the mediator, and the castigator. All various different colours, but effectively the same. They are clockwork-looking, single-eyed, cyclopean, all over the place bots. They are faceless in themselves. They're kind of scary to look at.
They are. It's their own form of Empurata going on.
I was going to say, do you think they Empurated each other?
It's like they've got to that point where they've removed all their personality to be in a position of power, so they don't have any weakness almost. They've seen Imperator as not as a negative, they've seen it as a way to remove weaknesses and emotion and therefore make themselves more powerful.
We see Imperator not just the physical change, because Shadow Play is there.
Yeah. But as Dominus has said, if you remove a person's face and their voice.
Yeah, I mean it's true, and I think you're making a good point that they've by taking off all of their kibble and giving themselves camera heads. One. I mean, I don't know how this cog council works, but one could never accuse or turn on another one because there's nothing. You know what I mean? You can't suddenly go, well, you've got wheels, so you should be off doing this, or you've got wings, so you should be doing this, if it's based on function.
The pursuit of the perfect shape is what they're after, isn't it?
Yeah, and their shape, maybe it is or is not perfect, but it's the same and it's unchallengeable from each other.
Yeah, you got to wonder where they sit on the grand Cybertronian taxonomy. I imagine with them being in charge there at the top, but. They've got to turn into something, surely. They can't be monoformers.
Why not?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they've
removed that ability.
They've all got very cog-like faces, and the whole fact that they sit in a transformation cog, maybe they're a part of something else.
I mean, their table is a cog.
Yeah, maybe they themselves.
They're taking the cog theme a bit far, aren't they?
I mean, one of them's got a cog hat.
What do you transform into, cog?
Isn't there a transformer called Cog?
Yes. It's Fortress Maximus's little buddy.
Oh, yeah.
6 of 12. He's got a cog hat. I like that.
He's going to... the others... It's going to be like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They've got to point and scream at him when he walks in with his hat on because he's different from the rest of them.
He's got a funky collar as well.
He's jazzed it up for this council session.
I really wanted to say something like "No one expects the Spanish Inquisition" or something like that.
No, that'd be 9 of 12.
Well, I know, but this is the one with the funky hat, man. It should be. It should be him. Because he's got a hat and everything. He's special.
So I like I mean, for me, the imagery is getting at giant T cog, they're all cogs. They're about putting people in their correct place, functionalist. So it's they are a cog in the machine.
Mm.
And the grand scheme of Cybertron, the grand machine of Cybertron, needs every cog in place to function. Hence why everybody's there. And they've kind of just taken that to the nth degree by being these an image of cogs. They look just very weird. The bodies almost look like Starcom figures or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, and they've got the 3 lights in their chests by the looks of it from the logo.
Yeah,
from the council. I think the thing that's nice.
Everyone's got 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing about this is nice though, that from the norm is, we're so used to having villains in not just Transformers comics, but any sort of comics and fiction. And I mean, I don't know if these guys are true villains yet, but one would imagine that they are. That physically imposing, overlords and Tarns and Thanos is, and it's kind of nice just to have a bunch of dudes with camera heads sitting around who don't look like much, but yet, like you've said, they're quite freaky. There's something, really unnerving about them.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are dangerous because of what they've obviously managed to achieve in unison. Like you said, you wonder if one of them wasn't there, would they be as effective and stuff like that? Like you say, the cogs in the machine sort of thing. Does it take all of them to have achieved this? They almost bring something to the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thus combined, they've built an empire for themselves, and theological. Because there's religious undertones to what they do with the praising Adaptus and all that stuff. They've built a theocracy almost.
So what are they up to? It's what this single page is getting at. They've sent people out. They're processing that information and they're planning a second stage of the rollout. Next on is their next mass recall, which when we get to the bottom of the page actually comes across is actually data slugs have been recalled. So from what we've learned from the opening of the book, all the data slugs are dead because they can store information. And that could be used against them. And that's why they're next on the chopping block. It's very methodical. It's very cold. It's very tactical. And it's just been well thought out by them.
Yeah.
We have this reasoning. We're going down this route. We're we're in the pursuit of the perfect shape, but we can eliminate as we're going along. Problems.
It's the words they use as well. Like it's they're sort of committing genocide of a transformation form, and but call it a recall, and it doesn't sound half as bad as what it really is.
No, they are sort of every dictatorship in history that couches itself in rather pleasing tones and words and euphemisms for what they do.
Absolutely.
I mean, you had social inclusion zones earlier in the book when they're the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. You look at all these countries where their official name is something like the Democratic People's Republic of wherever, and they're very rarely democratic or republics.
Yeah, and the people don't actually get much.
Exactly.
Anything.
Exactly. It feels like the Democratic People's Republic of Cybertron, and it's nothing of the sort.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, the last guy who actually says about the recall, it's when the social stock market fails to deliver the desired outcome, the council is beholden to intervene. Like, oh well, we've got to go and do this now, and God damn it, it's a shame, but we're going to have to recall them all.
We've tried to get it done by the official way of doing it, the taxonomy, and yeah, we can't, so we'll do it anyway. Bugger them.
If in doubt,
Yeah.
bugger 'em.
Yes. This is possibly why I'm not a politician or anything.
Did you study politics at uni?
I did, yeah, twice.
And this is what you got out of it.
But
Bugger 'em.
if studying politics teaches you anything, it's to be very cynical about politics.
Didn't need to study politics to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you go on and run charity shops for a living.
So disillusioned that you have to go into charity.
Yeah. Yeah. A charity that does have an act of parliament dealing with its governance, actually.
Oh, dear.
So ingrained are we in in society. I don't know where else I'm going with that.
No. So we shall move forward at pace before this gets too political, and we probably say something that'll get us sued. Back on the Lost Light, we find out that Brainstorm's briefcase is the time machine. In fact, all the briefcases are. There's dozens of the bloody things.
There's your Cybertronian baggage claim.
All the same briefcase for everybody.
Yeah.
We didn't think this through. So all of the parts of the briefcase are connected. Well, the briefcases are all connected. The parts are hidden within the walls. I'm guessing the walls of the briefcases.
So otherwise, it's the walls of the ship. And I think
Yeah, and it just... So basically, Brainstorm has slowly but surely snuck pieces of this thing on board and moved it around the ship, and it's basically just been...
he's got himself a time machine.
He's reversed a Great Escape it, hasn't he? He's instead of shuffling dirt out of his trouser leg, he's just been walking a briefcase on every time.
Yeah.
So Rodimus guesses, absolute just out of nowhere, that it's quantum engines that are at it. Good old quantum engines.
If in doubt, put the word quantum before anything.
Yeah. 8 issues we've been discussing quantum engines, and now there's a point. So basically, Brainstorm has taken a case with him, which is a control case. And he also has an added... he's also connected the time machine to his own spark, which means only people with a compatible spark type can use the machine. Now, what could that mean?
Well, there's your spark types from 20 plus 1 coming into effect.
Yeah.
But what compatible means is...
Oh, whoever has his same spark, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
but
but
the same type of spark. Which,
if you look at the preview, I'm sure that there were folks that appeared in the preview for next issue, folks that don't all have the same spark type.
Oh, right.
But yet again, it's only Rung that's holding the briefcase. He of the brightest spark on the ship.
Yes. And then we have the big one. Megatron says he needed 4 things to put his plan into action. What's the 4th? Brainstorm's greatest achievement is not the creation of a working time machine, it's the fact he's found a way around the paradox trap.
I love their faces.
No one's nodding, Perceptor. Please tell us more.
Megatron's face in particular.
From what you were saying earlier, Brainstorm intends to change history so that the Decepticons win the war. But if he succeeds, he'll change the present. And if he does that, he'll never be in a position to build a time machine in the first place. So how is he able to go back and help the Decepticons win? That is the paradox. That is the problem with time travel, full stop.
Yep.
Brainstorm's time machine resolves the paradox by preserving the original timeline. This timeline, just long enough for the new one to bed in and establish itself so definitively that it can't be undone. At that point, this reality will start to disappear. At which point, it just goes a bit spacey, wasty, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, doesn't it, really?
Do you think this is how Terminator 5's getting away with it?
I don't think Terminator 5's going to get away with it.
Terminator 5's retconning, isn't it? It's going back and it's just doing a complete retcon of because they're refilming scenes from the other films, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's that specific bit in the trailer, spoiler alert, where it looks like Arnie's going to go and kill Arnie.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So
Right.
it changes Terminator 1, and
Yeah.
Sarah Connor rescues Kyle Reese, spoiler alert, from the shopping mall, rather than him just getting on his dirty pair of trainers and his hobo coat and running for it with his sawn-off shotgun.
But this is the point. If you change that history, you can't
It
do
invalidates Terminator 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 and
So
4
you
not
wouldn't
being
have
too
had to
much
do
of a
it in the
problem.
first
No one cares.
and you wouldn't have had to do it in the first place. So
Exactly.
this is the paradox in action.
It's what's commonly known as a soft reboot because we don't actually know where we're going to go, and because 4 was so bad.
You know what they should do?
Stop. Just stop
Jack,
now.
no. This is for James. You can use this as a soft reboot to bring Outback back to life somehow. Because I still blame Nick for killing Outback off panel.
The things you choose to care about, Adam.
It's Outback. It's a crazy Australian brawn repaint. Oh, it'd be the best.
The things you choose to care about. I mean,
You
you were wanting Braun to have a massive part in the comics.
Oh, do you know what? If I just turned the next page and Braun was punching someone in the face, 10 out of 5. That's what this issue gets.
So, okay, the timeline line changes just minorly, but we still carry on. But the big change is that Braun is no longer Braun, he's now Outback. Would you
No.
accept it?
No. Braun's cooler than Outback. Braun's cooler than Outback.
But have we not had enough Braun?
They haven't had barely any. I don't think he's done much since he punched Starscream in the face back in the ongoing.
About 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. That was a great cover as well.
It's like the highlight of the ongoing.
And there were so many to choose from. And Magnus points out the blatantly obvious. Well, brainstorming tends to do if whatever brainstorming intends to do clearly fails. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in a position to stand here talking about it. That's precisely my point. This timeline could already be compromised. The new now, might already be encroaching, albeit in ways we may struggle to perceive. So we already have. We have perceived it.
Well, we've got two Magnuses, in assuming Minimus is still inside Ultra Magnus. You know, they're occupying the same timeline.
Yeah, but also, obviously, at the start, Rewind's data...
And Rewind as well, yeah.
His data is changing as it's going on. So, Rodimus brings up the question that most time-travelling things... won't brainstorms and meddling simply create a second timeline that runs alongside our own like a parallel universe? I'm sorry, Rodimus, but parallel universes were dismissed years ago as a false construct. They don't exist. Crisis on Infinite Earths doesn't exist, according to Perceptor.
Star Trek.
Yeah. Sadly, the concept encouraged second-rate scientists to avoid more complicated implications of time travel.
So the end of Regeneration 1 was a load of rubbish as well then.
Yeah. So basically, there's very little time. What are we going to do before we're rendered obsolete? We have to give chase through time. We need our own case. Brilliant, we found one on the other lost light. Just a bit of luck.
It just so happens.
Yeah.
I like the fact Magnus is genuinely looking panicked. Out of everyone who's there, like, he's freaking out.
It's boiled his brain a little bit, hasn't it? Bless him.
Yeah.
So I still think it's not done Megatron any good. That his face as Perceptor's trying to explain the paradox.
It just stays blank, doesn't it?
I know what all the words mean, but in this order, I can't get my head around it. That's what I take from Megatron's face.
I think he's still hung up on the fact that this is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like that you can sort of hear him go, what? That's about it.
So, what single action would change the war? What happened 4 million years ago that could change the war? Meg says it's obvious. He's going to kill Orion Pax. Dun, dun, dun. Cybertron. Rewinds are popping like popcorn. Bulkhead's there, which is nice to see.
As his hot shot.
Which isn't so nice. We know it's a different one because he got double tapped in the head and in the crotch in the Drift miniseries.
First Drift mini, yeah.
Yeah. So we know it's definitely not Cybertron. Is an offence to tamper with the recently recalled a harvester unit will be along shortly. Horrible. Just imagine just them taking the part. They're doing something with the parts or something. It's horrible. Rewind's not panicking. Minimus has got back to him, and Dominus has had his words taken from him. They've taken away his vocabulary now. He doesn't know what the words mean. He knows that certain words. But that's it. He's just stripping him further and further back.
Is there actually much point in keeping him around when you've done that?
Only to do this.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else beyond this little bit that's about to happen, is there, for him?
So Dominus's screen pops up. This is what happens when you act against us. Look your friend in the eye and ask him what he does. And the functionists are reacting to Minimus and Rewind. What's that mean? What happened? What did the functionary say? Because obviously he's just been off to see the Primal Vanguard. Oh, we've become surveillance officers. They said they admired our powers of observation, and the penny drops. Minimus realizes that they've been watching what's going on through his eyes. On your way back to Cybertron, while you were sleeping, we gave each of you a new pair of eyes, a welcome home present. It was a test, an army of spies marching towards full spectrum surveillance, and now we know it works. Everyone will have new eyes, a compulsory upgrade. Everyone watching everyone forever. And Rewind pops. And the sign changes to, we are your eyes.
We're not creepy at all.
The custom-made now an elegant chaos prologue as the issue ends. So, Adam, we finish with new rewind, recent rewind, that rewind, present rewind, whichever rewind, popping, and just the functionalist getting more and more and more in control.
Yeah.
The question comes, though, how does killing Orion Pax lead to this?
It's an interesting one. I mean, I think we're obviously seeing the present day in this issue. And, I guess at this point, we know from the preview that, there's going to be a team that's going to go back and try and stop Brainstorm. So, we've sort of seen the end game, for Cybertron here with the cog, in control. As to how Orion Pax, I'm trying to think back, to be honest with you, to Chaos Theory and some of the other stuff. And, he obviously stands against Megatron, but without Orion Pax, why does... Maybe Megatron was all about... I don't know, because Megatron's all about order, but it being, it's communism almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, but this isn't. This is like an extreme of almost what was there and Megatron was rebelling against.
So something obviously happens to Megatron.
Well, yeah, it must do, because without Orion Pax, Megatron, you would assume, comes to power of some description. Conquest, power, who knows?
But
I don't. Yeah, it's a tough question.
Yeah, because there doesn't seem to be a correlation to me between Pax not being there because Pax eggs Megatron on to start with. We've got to remember going back. So without that, does Megatron then become Megatron? Or is this is the natural order of things if Megatron hadn't?
Well, without Pax, does Megatron just get killed in his prison cell? You know,
Does he ever end up there? Is he just stays a minor?
well, exactly. You know, but does he? You know, because he was going to get. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Whirl obviously beat Megatron up, and then you know those council like roughhouse dudes turned up, didn't they? I mean, that was with Pax there, I guess. Like, you're right. So maybe that situation wouldn't have even happened had Pax not been there. It's an interesting one. I'm sure it'll be like a, you know, there's obviously some sort of pivotal moment.
We're assuming, of course, that they're right, that Brainstorm has gone to make sure Megatron wins, or Decepticonism wins.
Well, absolutely. You know, we're working just off the information we've been given, which may well turn out to not be correct. I still think, you know, the point that, you know, Dave, that you made earlier, just talking about the covers, you know, and the fact that I forget the name of the cog-headed dude who we've seen before,
The Authenticator.
The Authenticator, you know, and we've specifically seen him before, you know, on one of the Lunars, you know, gone out there to authenticate the new spark, which exposed itself, and you know,
he was around 4.2 million years ago. Yeah,
and one would assume maybe the other 11 council members were as well.
Yeah,
and they all were fulfilling some sort of a role for, you know, for the previous administration.
Prior to the council unseating the Senate, as they said in this, and
yes,
and all that jazz.
Yeah.
As I said, though, I mean, you can only operate on the assumption that the gang on the Lost Light is correct, that Brainstorm's gone back in time to ensure that the final outcome of the war is different. But all he said was he was going back in time to fix things, is what he said.
Yeah.
Now to fix things. And that doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. I mean, if he's fixing things so that the war never happened, he's done it bloody brilliantly, actually.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to create a perfect machine, you know, that's kind of what Cybertron's being turned into. At the cost of, you know, individuality and people, but...
So the question is you're always going to come back to is Brainstorm a traitor? Was he actually working for the Decepticons or not? And...
Well, was it? I mean, I'm trying to cast my mind back a few issues now. The reveal of him being a Decepticon was that his counterpart on the other Lost Light had a Decepticon logo on the inside of his face.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that this one does. That our Brainstorm does. I mean, yes, they should be the same and things should be the same, but as Rewind points out earlier on, you know, it's the same but not the same.
Yeah, but it was heavily implied that it was him that deactivated the cell, wasn't it? And so thus lured the DJD.
Yeah, but that Brainstorm did, but it doesn't mean that our Brainstorm is of the same mindset or is even a Decepticon agent.
And
then Ravage points out that they have to be.
What it's going to come down to, it is where the truth is, isn't it? That's where we're going to get out. If assuming everything that we have been told is true, and Brainstorm is going back to kill Orion Pax, either he has killed him, and in doing so has stopped it happening, and in fact has stopped everything happening, and is completely ballsed up, which is entirely possible.
Yeah.
Or he's failed to kill him, and he's killed Megatron or something, and this is the police state, and somehow Pax is related to that.
My thing is, look at this issue's title.
Yeah.
Custom made. That implies that it was what was wanted. To me, anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised if these 12, or at least some of these 12, are characters that we know.
Mm.
Yeah, it's highly likely.
And in some way they're affecting... Something's happened to make sure that they turn out like this. But I see it as this is what would have happened if nothing had changed. This is what the Senate would have become. It would become the sphere of power would have got smaller and smaller and smaller, until it was these 12.
Yeah.
How or why or what, we don't know, but that's what it feels like to me. It doesn't feel like Brainstorm changing something would lead it to this point. This seems like the natural progression.
This feels like this altered history feels like what was meant to happen.
Yeah.
This was the plan, and the plan's gone perfectly correct to get to this. And so, no, I don't think that Brainstorm is per se a Decepticon agent. I think he might be working for someone. He might even be a functionist. I don't know. But I think this was what was meant to happen. And to do that, no, you don't kill Orion Pax. I would argue that you kill both of them.
Mm.
You kill them both, and you don't have the war lasting anywhere near the length it did, or anything like that. The 4 million years of war doesn't happen if you kill both Prime and Megatron.
Or you just stop them meeting.
Or you stop them meeting.
It doesn't have to necessarily be the death of one of them. But we shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Elegant chaos.
Yes. Right, let's have a quick chat then before we sum this up and put it to bed. About the artwork. Obviously, Brian Shearer came on and helped out with the inking on this issue again. Dave, Alex's work from when you last viewed it, or just viewed it in discussion on here 3 years ago or wherever it was.
Hey, I didn't do a bit more than
No,
this.
you did RID, didn't you?
I continue to like Alex Andy's work. He's a lovely man, lovely big bear of a man who knows my Moogie's name, and it's crisp, it's clean, it's Alex's usual highly talented self. This issue, I thought, there's a nice array of expressions going on. I particularly like that. For saying it was that massive info dump of Chrome Dome and Rewind, I do like the expression on Chrome Dome's face all the way through it. He's just an inch away from being in balls of tears.
Yeah, the furrowed brow, isn't it?
Yeah.
The embarrassed furrowed brow.
Yeah. He's just an inch away, just a little push, and he'd be crying, and you can sort of feel and see that. And I think that's a combination of both art and colouring, actually, because it's the shading that does it.
Yeah.
And Megatron's outburst, and then his embarrassment at his outburst. You follow that on to, even the head, the flat head.
Mm.
I like that. It's the way it's conveyed. It feels, it's drawn to be suitably creepy, if that makes sense. It's meant to. I know it is, but And then again, we had that conversation about the way the members of the council look. And that, they are quite intricate little designs, aren't they? When you've even got them all labelled with the different colours. And then there's the dude with the hat. I like the dude with the hat. I'll have a dude with the hat, please, whichever one that is. 6 of 12. Be an actor. And again, Megatron's expression a little bit later on after that of his utter confusement about the paradox. So yeah, it's Alex's usual attention to detail. You've got your pipes in the wall and all sorts going on again, haven't we?
Yeah.
I often wonder how long it takes him to draw a page, because it'd take me about 6 days. I know it would.
Well, those first couple of pages would just take forever.
Yeah.
Just with all those details, all the little bots and the various, he has stuck to designs. They're not just scribbled out generics.
I was reading on Twitter, and did he say something about it being something of a celebration of 10 years of drawing Transformers for him?
Oh, wow. Probably took him about that long to do that page.
Yeah, exactly. Because it must be 10 years since the Energon comics and things, which he was doing way back when. So it's quite nice to see it. I'm not buying any Energon toys from it, I'm afraid, but
it's all right, nobody is.
That's all right then. All is well with the world.
Adam, what do you want to chip in for artwork discussion?
I'd echo a lot of what Dave said. I think Alex has done a great job throughout this issue. There's nothing I don't like. I really like the colours as well. There's a clear distinction between the colouring on the Lost Light and when it's on Cybertron. Makes it feel like a different location. And I also like the fact that as Cybertron progresses throughout the issue, we get the darker, like redder tones coming in, like, almost culminating. In the last few pages is all very red and danger like. It's moody. If it was a film, it would be very moody and atmospheric. It's really good, to be honest with you. I've got no complaints at all. Really good.
Right. Well, I will mention Joanna's colouring. I always go on about it, but damn it, that girl can colour. Her light sources are beautiful. Once again, I often say the same thing, but it's always brilliant. It's always adds something. It's always detailed. It's always lovingly done. It's just so nice to see. Yeah, really just enjoying her work at the moment. Just enjoying seeing it. Enjoying seeing the differences. As you say, the different light colours she's used and the focus on it. And obviously, I don't know how much of that is handed down from the powers that write, but I imagine she has a lot of say. And it's just beautifully done, really beautifully done. Okay, before we completely close this down, then any final thoughts, Adam?
I want a toy of one of those what are they called? Functionaries, those Judge Dredd robots.
Okay.
They're cool. No, I really like that.
Would you buy the repaint?
I'd buy two of them so I could have two sort of doing the border inspection of all my other toys. No, I think it's, my final thoughts are, I think it's just a great issue, to be honest with you. Some really fun designs in there. I think it's worth just, going back and, complimenting Alex for drawing so many bots. And, there's got to be there must be one fan of the Unicron trilogy out there who must be absolutely loving this. And you know what? I'm not a fan, but I still had a bit of a laugh, when we were doing, Where's Wally? with the characters the other week. So,
I guarantee we still didn't get them all.
Yeah, some dude.
Another dude.
It's like naming Micromasters.
Somewhere.
The embarrassment of us naming Micromasters. Dear me.
Just say big and then something else after it, and you usually get at least a handful of Micromasters correct.
Yeah, the ironic Micromasters, the irony team.
Big Daddy, Big Shot.
Big Mama's house? No.
Oh dear, right. Right, Matt, you need to wrap the podcast up. You brought Big Mama's house into it. Dave's going to bring up Big Mama's house. You know where this ends.
Dave, final thoughts.
Well, if he gets a toy of the functionary, I want one of the dude with a hat.
So we've got a hat dude and a functionary dude. Right, next.
Yeah, that's it. No, really fun issue. Completely different to the past few. Not that I've not enjoyed what's gone before, but it's a pleasant change of pace. It feels like we're going somewhere epic at the end of the year and the start of the new one, and that's nice to see after the semi-epic Dark Cybertron. Semi-epic, that's the best I can say.
Yeah. Sepic.
Just a few letters away from septic.
Yeah. Okay, and a final score from you, Dave.
4.5 out of
no
5.
bloody halves on the show.
Yeah, there is.
Never get my own way.
All right, and 4. Because I want to see more.
Okay.
You left me hanging.
Adam.
Exactly the same from me. 4 out of 5. I think as a story arc, by the time's all said and done, as an arc, it will hopefully rank higher. but it's the best issue since Dark Cybertron for me, and I think it definitely deserves the 4 for that. It's really good, genuinely very good issue.
And I will round it out with a 4 as well, and agree with you. This is probably the best issue of this since Dark Cybertron. It's well written, well thought out, beautifully artified, and it actually enjoys genuine comedy, and rather than being a bit forced at times as it's felt over the last few issues. Really looking forward to where it's going. Genuinely don't have a clue what's going on, but happy about that. So that's the end of issue 35 of More Than Meets the Eye. Thank you to Dave.
You're more than welcome, my love.
Thank you to Adam.
No problem.
And thank you to you lot for listening and putting up with us. Have a very Merry Christmas from us on the More Than Meets the Eye team, as we probably won't be back before then. Actually, I can almost guarantee we won't, because next time... No. Anyway, we will see you next time on the Underbase.
Thank you for tuning into our broadcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Underbase or interact on FullMetalHero.com.
Underbase complete. Cease transmission.
I've completely lost my train of thought.
Oh dear. He's unemployed.
I just don't care.
Present your status symbol to a functionary for inspection and confirmation of class privileges.
I seriously, I've just skimmed it and I still can't see it.
It's the
not working.
it's middle of the second page, just underneath the close-up of Rewind's face. It's that like Tannoy telling them what to do.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And then on the following page, it's the whole "I need proof of function" bit.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
It helps because I've got the actual comic.
Yeah, I only have got a watermark right across half of it. Okay, let's try and get this back on.